The most important election of your lifetime is now only 2 days away, and depending on which campaign you're listening to, this race will be decided by one of two things, either revenge or the love of your country. Talk about a tale of two candidates.
Don't boo, vote. Vote. Voting's the best revenge.
Instead, I ask the American people to vote for love of country.
Now, tonight it is becoming increasingly more obvious that more Americans plan to side with Governor Mitt Romney, and they plan to do so because they love their country and are downright frightened at the direction that we are headed under this president's failed policies. Now, later tonight, I'll check in with Governor Sarah Palin about the president's controversial revenge vote strategy. Also later on, Newt Gingrich will join me. But first, let's look at the evidence indicating that the momentum seems to be on side of Team Romney. We begin with a series of polls out of a number of swing states. First, we start in Colorado. According to the latest Rasmussen survey, Romney is leading Obama 50 to 47%. Now, the governor also finds himself on top in the unlikely swing state of Minnesota. He leads there 46-45. And then there's Michigan, where the Obama campaign has relentlessly spread lies about Governor Romney's position on the GM bailout. Now, the propaganda there has not worked. The governor is now tied with President Obama. And then, of course, the great state of Ohio, where the latest polls show that Romney and the president are in a dead heat. And on the eve of Mitt Romney's planned visit to Pennsylvania, a Tribune Review survey shows that both candidates are now locked at 47%. Now, this explosive development has caused Team Obama to hit the panic button, and they're now scrambling to save the state that holds for them what they believe is the keys to the White House for the president. And that means calling on the one and only former president, Bill Clinton. He's headed to the Keystone State. He has 4 events coming up tomorrow, but will it be enough? Is Pennsylvania really in play for Governor Romney? Here to answer those questions and more, the architect of George W. Bush's 2 successful presidential campaigns, Fox News contributor. How are you? We're going to see a lot of you in the next week. How are you doing?
I'm going to be sleeping, incidentally, under the table here tonight. I mean,
you can have the keys to my office. It's all yours.
Thanks.
My office
got a comfortable
is your
couch, I understand.
All right. I got to be honest. I'm looking at these polls like everyone else out in America. And for those that say they know, I think it's hopeful, wishful thinking. But I do feel there's still momentum for Governor Romney. Yeah. Thoughts?
Well, first of all, let's divorce the national polls from the state polls. The national polls point to a very close contest. As of 8 o'clock tonight, in the last 7 days, starting last Monday through 8 o'clock tonight, there have been 23 national polls. Romney leads in 7, Obama leads in 5, 11 are tied. Romney leads with 50% or more in one of them. Obama leads with 50% or more in one of them. The average them all together, 48.2 for Romney, wow. 48.0 for Obama.
Now, so it's even.
So it's even. A couple of minor things. I mean, let's watch and see what the Gallup says tomorrow. Gallup has been out of commission since Sandy hit the East Coast. They went back into the field late last week. They will finish their polling tonight, release it tomorrow. Let's see what that likely voter number says among Gallup. When we last saw it, I believe it was 4 points, 51-47. And we'll see where that is.
Do you think Sandy had an impact? Well, I guess we'll find out in the Gallup poll, because Governor Romney was at 50% for what, some 15, 16 days in a row before they stopped. But interestingly, there was this moment where I think the president got a little momentum because he went in, looked all presidential. But if you look in Long Island, New Jersey, and New York, if you want to get a gasoline, it's 4 hours wait. Yeah. People without electricity, people freezing. Really no government presence.
And look, American people are seeing this. We're likely to, it took a couple of days to bake in the positive. It's going to take a couple of days to bake in the negative.
So we may not show up in the polling before the election.
Yeah, but it'll be there. And whatever minor advantage he received during it, it will be washed away. The biggest advantage he had was the intangible of it took attention away from the campaign and from discussion of debt and deficits and spending and joblessness and anemic growth and the Affordable Care Act.
I could not believe when I saw the president talking about revenge. That's the best revenge versus how Governor Romney I'm asking people to do what's best for their country.
Right. And that was deeply revealing. I mean, look, we've seen several moments of him during this campaign where he said something spontaneous, and it's been deeply revealing. You didn't build that, and now this one. I mean, the best, he's not a happy warrior. The Democratic Party used to be the party of Hubert Humphrey and JFK and the happy warrior. And the instinct of those politicians would have been to take the booing of the crowd and turn it into something positive. The president's response, and he's got he's angry and he's pushing his finger in the air and he's looking sideways and looking mean and angry. It's, let's get some revenge. And it was, I thought, deeply revealing.
The one thing that I'm noticing in their closing speeches is that Governor Romney clearly is targeting states that maybe some people didn't think would be in play, but also independents, with a very uplifting message. Versus, it seems the president is trying to rally his base in the final moments of this campaign.
I think that's right. I think that's absolutely right. Each campaign has a different model for the election. We'll see whose is right. The Democrat model is, let's just appeal to the new coalition of blacks, browns, young people, angry liberals, and tear down Romney. That's the way to get elected. And Romney's saying, I need to have a plan for the future, and I need to rally the country together, get as many Democrats and independents as I possibly can, and join them in my Republican base.
The two things that are very revealing to me is intensity. Every poll shows it. Independents seem to be going in big numbers, a reversal from 2008.
Right.
They're going Governor Romney. To me, that should be the deciding advantage, even in a close race. You look at, let's go through this. North Carolina, Florida, Virginia, are you comfortable?
I feel good. Look, in the Real Clear Politics average, which is a lagging indicator, all three of those states plus Indiana are comfortably out of the Obama column where they were in 08 and into the Republican column.
All right, so then we go, what do you make of these other states? Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, are they really in play?
Well, yeah, Wisconsin obviously is. But look, I do think there's something real. Full disclosure, I'm involved with American Crossroads. We are spending over $2 million in Pennsylvania on television. We would not be spending it unless we sensed an opportunity there. We could have taken that money and plunged it into the existing battleground states, but instead, there's a real opportunity there, and it moved without the benefit of campaign activity.
By the way, you were attacked by Paul Krugman as having benefited from this election financially, et cetera.
Yeah, I saw that. Mr. Krugman wrote a piece in which he sort of claimed that suggested the reason I was involved in American Crossroads was because I was a shrewd businessman and I was lining my pocket. Look, I'm not against people making money out of politics, but Mr. Krugman didn't bother to pick up the phone and call my office and say, is Mr. Rove receiving any remuneration? I'm a volunteer. I've been doing this for 3 years as a volunteer. I don't take a dime. I don't even take my travel and out-of-pocket expenses. I contribute that into the cause. My job is
not one penny.
Not one penny, directly or indirectly.
So he lied.
Look, I won't say it's a lie. It's still, look, he's obviously not. He's obviously not. He's obviously not against people making money. He was a paid consultant to Enron, but he's a sloppy journalist. It's the kind of slapdash ad hominem attack that particularly liberal economists like. He used to be interesting. Now he just writes a column that he doesn't even bother to pick up the phone and say, "Is Karl Rove deriving a salary?" But you know what? I'm proud to be a volunteer, as are millions of other people helping change this country.
With Ohio even, it seems like Romney's up in Colorado. Then we've got
Ohio. Don't gloss over that. There's something important happening. You talked about intensity. Think about, as of last night, in the early and absentee balloting, 108,000 Republicans have already voted. 108,000 more Republicans are already voted than voted 4 years ago. 155,000 fewer Democrats had voted as of last night.
That makes up the 08 difference right there.
Yeah, that's right. That's 263,000. Obama won by 262,000. Democrats traditionally win the early voting, early and absentee, and they lose on election day. They won by over 300,000 votes.
You sound confident about Ohio.
Well, look, it is a coin toss. I mean, I do think this. I think there's something going on out there, and we saw it in the Des Moines Register poll today. You're right. The intensity is on the Republican side. There's something else there. The woman who runs the Des Moines Register poll, who knows that state intimately, said, well, wait a minute. Obama's ahead, but 5% of our sample said, we've got a choice, and we're not telling you who it is. I doubt those people are for Obama.
So we've got Hamilton, Claremont, Warren, Butler. Then you've got New Hampshire tied, Wisconsin ostensibly tied, Pennsylvania tied, Wisconsin tied, Michigan tied, and Minnesota a one-point race. It's going to be a fun night on Tuesday.
And Nevada close.
And Nevada, by the way, from what I heard, the same thing there with early voting and everything
else. A little bit more complicated picture there, but yeah, the Republicans are in the hunt there.
Prediction?
I'm standing by what I said on Thursday in the Wall Street Journal. I think it's going to be very close, which is 51-48, which could be a 2-point to 2.5-point race. And I think Romney gets 279 to 281 or 286 in the electoral.
I'm sticking with you. I think it's a 2-point race, 3-point race.
Yeah.
All right, Karl Rove, good to see you. We'll be
you,
watching
Sean.
all election night. And coming up is history repeating itself. The images of long lines. By the way, 5 hours on Long Island.